no Kenosha law enforcement officer in this case will be charged with any criminal offense based on the facts and the laws as I will describe them to you now. So it is our decision that no charge will be filed. I'm going to also tell you, just because I think it is important, that no charge will be filed against Jacob Blake in regards to this incident as well.
That is Michael Gravely. He's the DA out in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And that's a face that is going to become very familiar to you here at Court TV because we've got several cases that we are covering, following, and tracking out of Kenosha, Wisconsin. Now, the one he was talking about there is the Jacob Blake shooting. Remember, Jacob Blake was shot 7 times by police, and no charges will be brought against the officers involved in that, and no charges against Jacob Blake for that. For those of you who don't recall this video, I'm going to show it to you again from a couple different angles. I will give you the same warning I always give to you. It is disturbing. It's not for everyone to see, but ultimately it's what this entire case is about. Jacob Blake being shot 7 times by police. Let's take a look. All right, there it is from the 2 different angles you got to see it. Let's bring in Court TV anchor Ted Rowlands. Ted, Jacob Blake, we've seen him in virtual court after this has happened, and he spoke a little bit there. But now he spoke out about this shooting for the first time with Good Morning America, Michael Strahan over at ABC. What did he say?
Well, it was a wide-ranging interview. As you said, we've had statements from him and we've heard from his parents, but this is the first time we've heard from him, what he says happened in his version of the events that took place on that day. And he, at one point, even talked about the moment that he figured out, oh my gosh, I have been shot. My child is with me in the minivan. Take a listen.
My babies are right here, my babies. So after he stopped shooting me, I said, Daddy, love you, no matter what. I thought it was gonna be the last. I thought it was gonna be the last thing I say to them. Thank God it wasn't.
That was an emotional part of the interview, recalling that he also went into the details surrounding the video that you just showed and what people perceive when they see the video. Here's what he says basically happened. He says he was at this situation, at this, it was a party, one of his children's birthdays. Police show up. He doesn't realize that a cop is behind him when he grabs his arm. He says he pulls away from the police officer. At that point, they get into a scuffle. He's tased at the side of the car. According to Blake, he says at that point, he dropped his pocket knife and made the decision to pick up that pocket knife and then walk around the minivan. And his goal, according to him, was to place that pocket knife in the car. And at that point, he was going to surrender. Listen.
I'm not really worried. I'm walking away from them, so it's not like they're gonna shoot me. I shouldn't have picked it up, only considering what was going on. At that time, I wasn't thinking clearly.
You were thinking once you get the knife into the car, you were going to just say,
throw myself to the ground and, put my arms behind my back. Because if they did it there and they killed me there, everybody would see it.
If the police were fighting me, if they were tasing me, I would stop walking away from them and they would have my attention.
I mean, I had not left or tried to run at that point.
And Vinny, one of the things he said also is that he didn't hear because of all the confusion, people yelling, and you do hear that in the video, right, of the people screaming and yelling. He claims he didn't hear officers' commands for him to stop Clearly, they had just tased him. So, as Michael Strahan pointed out, you just been tased. They clearly want to talk to you. So that was the point of the interview where you could, it just felt like there were some questions, obviously. And I think that's basically the basis of why there are no charges filed in this case. He had a knife with him, had a knife in his hand all the way through that, and he admits that.
Yeah, here's the part of the story that doesn't make any sense of his story, is the knife. I'm putting it back in the car. It's not his car. It is not his car. That's one of the reasons the police were there and were called there, because he had the keys to the car that was not his. And that's why the story doesn't make any sense at all, to me at least. Like, oh, wait, I've got to put the pocket knife into the car that my, I don't know if it's his ex, his estranged wife, or the mother of his children, into her car. That makes zero sense. I don't know, did Michael Strahan ask him about that?
No, but the feeling is, watching the interview, that his perspective was, oh, that's my knife that fell out of my pocket. I want to get it because I don't want to lose it, and it's valuable to me. So I'll put it in the car for safekeeping. Then I'll put my hands up and we'll work this out with the police. From the officer's standpoint, they were called there, and his name was actually uttered on the 911 call, saying, hey, Jacob Blakes is here. He's not supposed to be here. I've got a rental car. He won't give it back to me. And they run it, and they know that there is a warrant out for his arrest. So from their perspective, again, this goes into the decision-making by the district attorney there in Kenosha. There was enough there for the officers to act the way they did, or at least to the point where they didn't believe, the district attorney, at the end of the day, that they would be able to convict an officer for shooting Jacob Blake 7 times. By the way, he is still paralyzed partially from the waist down, and he was in the wheelchair during the interview with Michael Strahan.
Yeah, I mean, it's a horrific story, but I mean, his version's not making sense to me tonight, but, he's entitled to give his version, and it's good that he's speaking out so we can hear it.